rocking on my back. Spaceman, raving like a maniac. Spaceman. Hyper, pretty and I like ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, we approach the end of another month here on the Gift of Gaming podcast, which can mean only one thing. We're here to read you the news. Everything from Splitgate unlaunching itself to all the lawsuits in the gaming industry. It's all here for you on the Gift of Gaming podcast. Play me that intro. What's up, it's me, your host, Darren Wade, and today I'm joined by the artist formerly known as Mr.
Currently, actually.
You're currently?
Oh, man, yeah, I've been gaming.
All right, the artist currently known as Mr. Xbox Games Pass himself, Luke Maycock, and, of course, the console-hating, PC-playing, lore-seeking, full-time Canadian himself, Chris Robbins, all together forming the trifecta of the ultimate news anchor team. Gentlemen.
News team assemble.
How are we?
Good. Yeah, good. I'm chipper.
Chipper, we were lamenting Xbox before we came on.
We were there. It's a trash pile, or soon to be a huge trash pile. I'm going to go all in on Team Steam.
I think they're all going to end up being trash piles. Maybe Nintendo will just like stick to their guns, but I think every big corporation is going to start leveraging AI heavily, and it's just going to be a mess.
Absolutely.
Poor humans, huh? What did we do
Fuck
to
us,
deserve
right?
this?
Yeah.
You know, war, violence. Who knows? On a lighter note, Luke, with your Xbox Games Pass, what are you on? What are you playing?
Oh, I'm playing a lot of stuff on and off Games Pass. On Games Pass, I'm back playing Final Fantasy, aka Claire Obscure.
Final French to see.
I have never heard that phrase, and I fucking love it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Final French to see.
I stole that. I stole that from there's like an Ireland gaming subreddit, and someone said it on that, and I was like, yeah,
that is quality.
Credit where it's due.
Irish, so witty.
So Final Fantasy. I've also been playing. I really wanted to give a go of Rematch. Did you see that football game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went on my
right. Sifu?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think it is the Sifu devs.
Yeah, it went on my wish list the night of that because we saw the trailer initially on one of the Games Fests, I think, or maybe the Game Awards. It went on my wish list right away, but I'm not going to pay full price.
And is it out of early access?
Yeah, it's full release.
Yeah, it's full release.
Yeah.
And
I don't think they had early access. I think
they had
might have had closed betas or something.
I think they had access for what do you call it? For reviewers and stuff like that. There was people playing
that's
it.
always the case.
yeah,
before.
there's a full ranked competitive mode in it, and it's decent.
Does it scratch that Rocket League itch?
Not as good as Rocket League
Does it scratch that EA FC itch, Luke?
Maybe a bit. It's a very different game to FC, to FIFA. It's got some cool stuff about it, but it has problems still. I think from the early stages, like I think they got a couple of things wrong that the Rocket League team got right. Yeah, no, it's good. I'm just not. It is quite frustrating, and the community on it are pretty toxic from the get-go.
Damn.
For the most part. But I had a great game before I came up here, which meant like 10 minutes into overtime. It was really fun. So there is that occasionally, but that's good. I'm not sure I'd recommend it for full price. I'm also still really bitter. Like I bought Rocket League. I bought 2 copies of Rocket League, and they eventually made that game just completely free to play. So I sunk like 60 quid into Rocket League, and then they just made it free, and I was like, okay.
I'm actually bitter because I can't buy it. If I want to play it, I have to install Epic Games and then play it for free. I don't want Epic Games on my computer at all, so I don't have it.
Well, what's your beef with Epic Games?
They're just too Windows focused for one, and their easy anti-cheat is just it's malware, man. It shouldn't exist.
Okay.
Not a big fan.
All right.
Oh.
Well, Chris, what are you playing? Nothing on
Epic Games.
On Epic Games, that's for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a bit of a fuck Epic. But yeah, you can't get it on Steam anymore, so that's a shame. But I am playing. What am I playing? I'm playing He Is Coming.
Yeah, two of you guys are playing that, right?
Early access game that I convinced Luke. I didn't really convince you. I was like, hey, look at this. We should get this. It's only like $10. It's early access. It is, God, it looks like DOS. Bit better than DOS graphics, but it's so addictive. It has a fun little loop. Excruciatingly hard though, and very imbalanced. But early access,
Nice.
it's good. I like it. Other than that, played a lot of Night Rain over the weekend because we got three of us together.
Good. I thought you were finished with that, but
No, because they're re-releasing. Shouldn't say re-releasing bosses. They've made the bosses. They have a rotating like super version of like they're called the Everdark bosses. So it's just the same boss, but like
harder,
jacked up in different phases, and much harder. So I've been playing that.
And have you gotten a third person to your party, or is it still you and your buddy and a third?
We got a third. That's why I jumped back into it because there's the three of us playing this weekend, which is nice. And the end of the month, I think the 30th, they're dropping the new patch, which is finally introducing duo queue. So
nice. Yeah, okay. So problem solved. Yeah.
And they're doing a lot of like other quality, like they're rebalancing a lot of stuff, and they're also adding some like quality of life changes. Like right now, you can equip these things called relics, kind of like buff your character up. But right now, there's no way to filter them, and like you get fucking like 20 after you beat a boss, right? So you just have this huge list of all these relics, and you can only filter by like color and size, which you want to filter by like class skills and shit like that.
Yeah.
And, well, maybe you can filter. I don't know. They're adding better filter systems, which is doesn't sound like much, but goddamn, that should have been there from the get-go.
And it's like it's one of those things I always wish would have been. I haven't played Baldur's Gate in a while, so excuse me if this has already been done. But it was a patch I always wish came into Baldur's Gate. It was just like inventory organization was just a fucking nightmare in that game.
Well, yeah, especially for I don't know how you guys did it on keyboard or sorry, not
controllers.
Keyboard, controllers, keyboard and mouse. It wasn't bad at all. Kind of annoying, but I would have never played the game if it was controller.
Console only.
I would have would have been immediate like because I got that fucking Zelda greed. I pick up every cup and plate I find. I'm selling that shit.
The thing that killed me from finishing that game was I started. I got a little bit into Act 2, and I was like, I don't really want to play any quests. I might just clean up my camp. Like, what a fucking thing to do in your video game is spend some time doing chores. But every book that I had picked up, I removed from all the little treasure chests and people's inventories and put it into this like. There was just a bookshelf at the camp, and I put all the books in there, and I started organizing them alphabetically. And I was like 2 hours in, being like, "The fuck are you doing this for?"
I did that in because Skyrim had that DLC where you could like own your own house. You put in like furniture and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna get every book in this game and put it on my bookshelf. And like a bit way through, I was just like, fuck this game. Stop playing.
It really killed my momentum, which is such a pity because it was like it's nothing of the fault of Baldur's Gate, entirely my own undoing. Currently myself, I am halfway through watching the Tetris movie. Have you guys
halfway through the movie?
Yes.
Is that the Taron Egerton?
It's a weird
one?
time to stop.
I ran out of my evening. I started too late. Yeah.
Like, why even bring it up?
Because I was going to say I'm really enjoying it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very interested because I still, I've said it on this podcast before. I think Tetris is the greatest game of all time.
Well, so do a lot of people trying to get the licensing for Tetris back in the 1980s. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it's really cool. I had no idea about the involvement of all the different parties for trying to get Tetris, hooked up with like the likes of the Game Boy or arcade machines or anything like that. Really, really interesting. The Russian involvement's quite intriguing. But yeah, I don't know how much of it. I don't know how close to like true it is. I don't know. It is a movie. It's not a documentary, so there's probably a bit of a dramatization in it as well.
The true story is very sad.
Oh, about that
guy didn't get a penny, did he?
The original devs, no.
Yeah.
No. That was, I mean, I haven't finished the movie, but so far that seems to be the fault of communist Russia, as far as I can tell.
I'm sure, according to the movie, it is. Yeah.
We'll wait and see. Yeah, I'll wait and see. I'll hold off my edge until I finish it. Other than that, I'm playing Helldivers 2 with the guys, which has been a joy.
Fuck.
Sick.
Yeah.
Jealous. That sounds amazing.
It's such good fun.
It's cross-platform. I should just pick it up, too.
And Xbox will be on Xbox soon, and we can all play.
Yeah, when that's...
It's August, like mid-August, I think.
Would you get it on Xbox, or would you get it on... Oh, can it run on Steam Deck?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if it can run on Steam Deck.
Well, the problem is shit
right
like
now.
fucking anti-cheat software. Might just not be Linux compatible, right?
Maybe. I know...
Seems like a crazy move. That company is too... Despite Sony's fucking bullshit they pulled in the early phases. The actual Arrowhead, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty player focused, so they probably would have.
That was my thinking.
Yeah.
Like they really.
And I loved I was more kind of into looking at updates on Twitter and stuff like that back in the days of Helldivers 1, and I quite enjoyed their just how they were, staying in touch with the community for Helldivers 1. There was a lot of humor in what they did. They seemed like a cool group. But yeah, Helldivers 2, great game. I've got nothing to fault it on, really, in terms of it does exactly what it says on the tin. It does it in a very good way, and it's great crack to play with people. Although I will say, our mate Niall and my mate, our mate Andy, who's living over in New Zealand, is... No, you're okay. Luke, if you hear that Luke's just turning on his Steam Deck, I'm assuming to check Helldivers capabilities.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
was
they
that the
play
Hades startup screen?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Nice. Can you customize your startup screen?
You can, yeah.
How much is a Steam Deck? For that reason and that reason only.
I mean, they have some good options in there too.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, Niall.
No. Yeah. So the great thing about the game is that the friendly fire is on, and it's definitely a thing. My very first time jumping in with the guys, like my second time playing Helldivers, I hopped in. Niall shot me dead. And he was like, sorry. And he did it on purpose, but like laughing. He said, oh, sorry. And I was like, oh, yeah, no worries. It's very funny. And then you choose where to throw the recall in or the resupport in to get you back in. Threw me into a massive group of like enemy bugs and bots and things like that. Threw me right into the middle of it. I just appeared in the middle of everything and died again. I could just hear Niall laugh, and I was like, so this is the kind of game that it is, But it's great. Like I said, there's loads of different kind of missions that you can do. It's really intense. The difficulty levels are great. I think we kind of played on like the 7th difficulty, which is like suicide. Then it goes to like impossible and whatever else. I think it goes all the way up to 10. We're currently playing on 7. But I'm enjoying the difficulty of it, and it's super intense.
I didn't realize it had a difficulty slider. I don't really care for that in games.
It just means kind of like, what would you say, bigger monsters, more monsters in general, or more bots in general. But it's nice. It's nice to kind of be playing like a cooperative game versus bots again. It's been a while since I've done that. Everything kind of seems to be super online, and it's all
That's
PvP.
true, actually. Yeah.
So it is nice to do like a
Elden Ring,
PvP.
Night Rain, baby.
Nice. But gentlemen, we're not here to talk about the things that we enjoy.
Can't we though?
No.
The news is just so depressing.
Oh, and this month is no different. I will save is there a feel good one in the lot? I don't think so.
There was that. Did you see DJ Pikachu's set?
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that was for the news. Was that for the news?
Well, it's kind of news. I got a really big kick out of it. I watched a lot of it.
How long was Pikachu's DJ set?
An hour.
That's pretty cool. Was he just kind of playing like?
Was he
remixed
remixing Pokemon songs? You had to have been,
All
right?
Gen 1 Pokemon songs.
Nice.
Electro, techno,
Oh, what did
remixes.
he do with Lavender Town?
Oh, it was awesome. That was the best
God.
part.
Okay, I'll check it out.
That was the best part.
Once you
We
guys
should
are
have
finished,
some background music. No, that probably
That
be
was-
DMCA.
if you're really sad after listening to this news episode, I'll put up the link for the Pikachu DJ. You can check that out and feel better.
It's great. You'll enjoy
Guys,
it.
where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Splitgate unlaunching itself? Do you want to start with the guys behind Subnatica suing
Oh
Krafton?
God, no! Just come on, Band-Aid off. Let's get through this bullshit.
First up, before we jump in, and just Helldivers 2 is playable on Steam Deck.
Nice, good to know.
As per compatibility. So, yeah,
So probably through Proton then.
probably.
I don't know what that means, but I'm glad that
Proton
you
is
guys-
a third-party
quick.
kind of like library that like kind of installs all the binaries you need to like fake a Windows environment.
Oh, cool.
But the
Okay.
community it's all community driven. I think Steam supports it, but it is driven by the community. It's fantastic.
Every
stuff.
time we're on these episodes, Chris, and we talk about PC or Steam things, I realize how little I know about computers.
Yeah, well, the moment you get a computer that you actually tinker with, you'll get online and you'll
figure it
learn
out straight away.
immediately. Like it's not rocket science. Even building them, it's just Lego, man. Everything just fits together. Everyone's always intimidated by all this stuff.
It's not necessarily intimidated. It's more of a I'm just not interested.
Fair. All right.
I'm gonna start with an interesting one. This isn't it's crazy news. Kind of sad, I guess, but crazy news. Okay, so this is coming from gamesindustry.biz. This is from Vicky Blake, and this is from the July 17th. So, an Italian YouTuber has been subjected to a police raid for reviewing handheld devices with preloaded retro games. As spotted by Android Authority, Francesco Salicini, who creates content under the name Once We're Nerd, alleged customs enforcement officers from the Guardia di Finanza turned up with a search warrant earlier this year. After reviewing a number of retro handhelds on his channel, including devices from Burnick, Powkiddy, and Trim UI, Salicini
Where's their lawsuits and like arrests?
Right? He says as he slides his Burnick fucking thing off the table.
I'm a retro pie guy.
Salicini was raided and his 30-plus devices seized, along with his personal phone. He also provided full transcripts detailing his interactions with the device manufacturers. Subsequent reporting by Eurogamer suggests that Salicini has been accused of violating Article 171 tier of the Italian copyright law, which carries a maximum fine of around $17,000 and up to 3 years in prison. Right now, Salicini is awaiting the conclusion of the investigation into him to find out what, if any, charges he may be facing. While paperwork continues, the raid is connected to copyrighted material from Nintendo and Sony. It's possible the enforcement agency initiated the seizure independently. Quote, I have never sponsored but reviewed with the utmost objectivity, citing both pros and cons of each device, Salicini said via machine translation. He continues, to date, the Guardia di Finanza as a precautionary measure is also proceeding to obscure all my social channels, thus making it impossible for me to continue to bring other content that is not the subject of this investigation. Unfortunately, this proceeding will almost certainly lead to a trial. I've already had to contact a defense lawyer, and you can imagine how many expenses I will have to face to deal with this. In my opinion, injustice, since none of my content, more than 200 videos, violates YouTube's policies, end quote. Nintendo is clamping down on privacy and emulation and recently revised its account agreement and account privacy policy to tighten the rules on emulation and privacy. It has also reportedly banned Switch 2 players from using its online services after using the MIG Switch and taken action against piracy sites like Yuzu, Tropic Haze, and NSW2U. That one's a weird one.
That is, it's just...
That's heavy-handed.
Just a reviewer. Like, what, are they going after these actual manufacturers? Is it maybe because they can't, but in Italy they can do something? And the whole thing, like, did you say it might have... This whole arrest might have been just, like, independent of Italy?
No, the decision was taken independently by the Italian organization. It looks like by the police force.
Yeah, so
right.
So it doesn't
look
look like Nintendo.
You rip off one of their badges, it just says Nintendo on it. Like, there's no way.
Every single member of the force that raided his house was either called Mario or Luigi.
Yeah. The Koopa Troop.
But it is so weird. That's the thing, just reviewing it. And like as he said, like he's not sponsored by them, doesn't work for them that we know of. I mean, I don't know the details behind this, but on its face value, it seems like a really strange, heavy-handed thing to do.
They did mention something about a transcript between him and the manufacturers. So
but that could have been emails asking about when this thing is going to be delivered. You know?
That's true. It's
he has said he's not sponsored by them, which means that he's not having conversations with them.
Yeah, so I don't know where they... Like, I don't know what effect they want this to have. Like, is this supposed to have a chilling effect on people emulating? Because it won't.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, that's the other thing. Like...
Just don't put it up on YouTube.
Is that it? Like, or is this going to become a bigger thing where, like, the Guardian's going to be knocking at someone's door because we think you're emulating in here?
And do they have the same standards for,
like,
movies?
You can literally install RetroArch on Steam. Like, that is a program you can install there that is for emulation. Now, you don't have any of the ROMs, but, I mean, none of them really do.
Like, the piracy crackdown is a tricky one, especially today with the way games work. I saw a great quote that said, and I can't remember who it was, but it was during, like, reading news articles, but somebody had said, if we don't own the games we buy...
No, if buying isn't owning, piracy isn't
stealing. Yeah, that's the one.
Which, I mean, that is kind of like the internet's motto right now on this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The whole stop killing games shit.
Wait, great segue, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
I've got an article on stop killing games.
I knew exactly what we were talking about.
Glad to have you on the team.
I studied.
Well, here we go. Now, that was a great segue.
I didn't study anything.
Unless anyone has anything else they want to add on a YouTuber getting raided because he reviews...
Fucked up?
Yeah, fucked up. All right, so this next article is coming from Kotaku by Ethan Gack. This is from the 21st of July. Stop Killing Games YouTuber says someone's filing false claims against EU initiative. So the Stop Killing Games campaign has continued building momentum in recent weeks, even popping up during at least one publisher shareholder meeting. With over 1.4 million signatures in support, the EU petition Stop Destroying Video Games now has a real shot at forcing the issue with regulators there, though one of the campaign's biggest promoters now claims someone is trying to derail the effort with false allegations against the petition. Quote, someone was gunning for us, YouTuber
Nintendo
Ross.
in disguise again.
Scott says a new video. Wait. All right, then wait till you get to later on in this article, Chris. Scott says in a video, he says, this is a shot across the bow. He details a complaint sent to the EU Commission from an unknown user, alleging the Stop Destroying Video Games EU petition violates disclosure rules. The complaint argues that while the petition states there are no sources of funding behind it, Scott's ongoing promotion of the petition essentially amounts to professional contributions from a foreign entity. Quote, the €500 disclosure threshold is exceeded by approximately 125 to 295 times through Scott's undisclosed professional time contribution, representing potentially the largest single source of campaign support, the complaint alleges. It continues, the concealment prevents informed citizen participation by misrepresenting the initiative as having no financial backing while subsequently depending on foreign professional contributions, end quote. The target argument rests on trying to ballpark the value of Scott's time at between $55 and $85 an hour and the amount of time at up to almost 2,000 hours. The result is a non-monetary contribution of anywhere from $73,000 to $170,000 in value, the complaint claims. The estimates are based on his YouTube channel and an interview Scott did with PC Gamer in which he said, quote, I've been running a rickshaw carrying people to the destination. The complaint does not include an estimate for Scott's hourly rickshaw rate. I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Throughout his latest video detailing the new twist in the ongoing Stop Killing Games saga, Scott tries to make clear that while he supports the EU petition, he's not one of the organisers behind it, and the overall movement is not a, quote, hive mind. The official organisers literally asked EU representatives if it was okay for me to assist them in the capacity I have been back in spring of 2024, just to make sure everything was above board in case there was a problem or we needed to report anything, Scott says. He continues, they said, what I've been doing is fine, and we've been doing this by the book, guys. It's unclear who's behind the anonymous complaint. It could be someone appealing on behalf of video game companies in Europe, whose lobbying entity previously released a statement rejecting the petition's demands as too onerous and unworkable. Or it could be some random internet user with an axe to grind against Scott as players debate the Stop Killing Games movement's merits. It was a decommissioning of Ubisoft's The Crew that originally kicked the whole thing off, and the publisher's CEO was recently grilled about the movement during its annual shareholder meeting. Quote, the lifespan of a piece of software, whenever there's a service component, eventually services may be discontinued because eventually the software may become obsolete over time, Yves Guillemot said at the time. A lot of tools become obsolete 10 or 15 years down the line, they're no longer available, and that is why we released a new version. And so we have version 2 and then version 3, but clearly this is a far-reaching issue and we are working on it, end quote. The EU petition is currently in a good position to actually force action on the issue. According to its organisers, it seeks to prevent the remote disabling of video games by the publishers before providing reasonable means to continue functioning of said video games without the involvement from the side of the publisher. If at least 1 million signatures are proved to be authentic, the EU Commission will be tasked with addressing the group's demands head-on within a 6-month period, even if it ultimately chooses not to create a new regulatory framework around them. I mean, I don't know in terms of like legally, but to me it seems like a weak argument that a person online promoting its pros, I guess, amounts to financial support.
It's an insane argument to basically break down. Someone spent the time to break down the hours that he had put into promoting this, and then assigned a arbitrary monetary value to that, and then just multiplied the two together, and we're like, this is his non-monetary financial contribution to the campaign. That's a crazy person argument to make.
Yeah.
Like, it's a voluntary, like, it's a signatories based thing. Like, you're raising awareness for it. It's not. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That's above board. They're getting desperate. They're getting scared.
Well, that is the interesting thing, that if it is Nintendo, but if it is interesting that they are. I mean, you can see it's being mentioned on shareholders, board meetings, that kind of thing. That I think people are getting a bit scared, but. Like, I know we're in the digital age, and I know things go online and servers are required and everything like that, but I played games throughout the 90s and into the early 2000s, and games that I bought, I had, and if I still had the Game Boy or the Super Nintendo or the PlayStation 1, I could put them in and play them anytime I wanted from the moment I bought it until the moment it broke or stopped. And that is no longer the case with video games, and to me that's not okay.
Yep. Agreed. Here.
So whoever this is,
I am trying to think, like, because I was kind of like jumping back and forth before, but I think this should pass. Like, it has to, right?
yeah, I think the problem with it is now, and I think I remember the last.
The only complication that I still see is the live service, which I don't really know how. Like Apex Legends, like if they stop handling that, I guess you just have a solo.
Yeah,
single player bots mode.
Yeah, a bots mode, or as you said, something like the. I mean, I've never really
or
hosted
peer
a
to
server
peer, or
myself.
like host.
Yeah.
If they give you the ability, but that takes, like, they would have to do that. They would have to build that into the game. That's like, putting money and effort into it. So I think like if this does pass, it would be for future. Like at this moment, August 2006, every game that releases from here on out has to, be preserved in some sort of way. I don't know if they could add it to like all the old games.
Excuse my ignorance when it comes to games, right? But let's take Final Fantasy 14 as an example.
Well, those are the big ones. Like World of Warcraft is
But
somebody built a vanilla server there.
Is there a server that would be required? Let's say it stops Square Enix stop supporting the servers for that. But like myself and Kevin and you two maybe want to hop on at a local multiplayer level in terms of like we can all hop on and connect via. But that probably still requires a server in itself, right? That if the four of us want to play.
Yeah. I mean, servers aren't hard to get though. I had one for Valheim for years. You rent them. They're a few bucks a month. It's not bad at all. The only problem is like there might be a lot of setup involved in making that game run on a server, right?
Yeah,
like a lot of work.
That was kind of my argument when we talked about this last. That like that should just be the baseline that those things should have to do is they just should provide
like Minecraft and shit. Like
exactly,
it's built for that stuff,
so that you can go rent your own server, figure that out yourself, and then come to us with the server details, and then you can play.
The problem is if they build that functionality off the jump, it's in there. And it kind of just immediately splits the player base, which would kill.
But I would say I'd say don't have it from the start, but have it in the background in the moment that you say we're no longer supporting the server. But here's how you continue it. Like, do you know what I mean? As individuals, I don't think you need to put that in from the beginning. And as you said, split the player count essentially. Like if you're running servers, have them as the only servers. But if you're going to stop that, give people the option to continue on servers of their own, right?
Yeah, is a like precaution or is a measure. A fail-safe for when you're sunsetting a game. Yeah. That's I don't see a problem with that. It's doable. It's doable in a not complicated way.
Like, I think of Final Fantasy 14 as an example in terms of a massive game. World of Warcraft, though, I've no real experience there. But, like, Final Fantasy 14 is such a huge game, and I know it's not, like, sunsetting anytime soon. It's still growing, and it's, the most recent DLC only came out last year, I think. But the amount that's in that game and the amount of enjoyment that people could still get from that game if they decided tomorrow we're sunsetting this next year, like from a
gone forever, which is crazy.
But like even from a developer's perspective, like the work that you would have put into that for that to just like disappear into the ether to me is bonkers. That like from within the company that you'd be willing, or as the company, the people who own this game, you'd be willing to just let it just disappear. As opposed to hold on to what is a great piece of art, a great piece of media.
Imagine Marvel just like pulled the plug next year and just like, you know what? We're sunsetting the MCU. All your products that you've bought and watched up until this point will no longer work.
You put in a Blu-ray, you put in whatever. It's just not going to work.
It's just like, nope. Gone. Never see it again.
But that's crazy, and it is that thing where I think we got digital so quickly and we went online so quickly that I don't think the proper frameworks or regulations were ever put into the video game industry.
We're facing that again with fucking AI, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh god, there's no articles about AI, guys. Don't worry, not this week.
A couple of just final thoughts on that. One of the things that Ross said, which made a lot of sense to me, was he talked about certain high rating politicians in the EU backing this,
from their own personal perspective, they believe it's a good thing that should be in there.
Yeah, but I bet you for every one, there's like 5 that are being paid by some company to like oppose it.
It's possible, but the argument that Ross makes with regards to that is that getting behind this is like a very free win. It's a very popular idea. It takes basically no political, like you don't have to really decide anything and put your neck on the line in any really kind of way. If you are backing it, it's kind of a win-win for politicians. Yeah. So that's like a hopeful thing about that. And also, I recently came across, the algorithm pushed this to me because this is in the news, I guess. But Ross does a series called Ross's Game Dungeon. and he did an episode of that. He just reviews games in it. He did an episode of that on The Crew back in 2018, I think it was.
So 3 years after it came out, like, because it's 2015 game, right?
Yeah. And at the last like 10 minutes of that video is him just being like, unfortunately, this game is going to die someday. Like, all games are going to die. I'm so certain of this. And it's the genesis of stop killing games.
Really?
It's so cool to go back and watch. He just goes on this rant about how, like, they're going to kill this game. Like, I know it. It's the writing's on the wall. And then he ended up being right. And then he started the initiative and all this kind of stuff. He's a cool dude. So check it out. Accursed Farms is his channel. Check out Ross's Game Dungeon, The Crew.
Way to go. Just let gamers own their goddamn fucking games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let us pay for something and have it.
Is that so much to
That's
ask?
so much to ask. Guys, where do you want to go next? How about a game on launching itself?
Perfect.
Keep them.
This
The
is
next
like
one locked
right
and loaded.
along the same vein here. Fuck.
All right, so this is coming from Giovanni Colantonio from Polygon. This is July 22nd. So Splitgate 2 unlaunches studio to cut staff ahead of 2026 release. The multiplayer shooter will return to beta as more layoffs hit 1047 games. So following a surprise launch in June, Splitgate 2 is now unlaunching. The multiplayer first-person shooter will remain online in a beta state and continue to get support through a Season 3 update and bug fixes, but developer 1047 Games is otherwise pausing its planned roadmap to overhaul the project ahead of a relaunch in early 2026. The studio is also cutting an unspecified number of staff members and shutting down servers next month for the original Splitgate as cost-cutting measures. Quote, basically, I feel like we missed the mark, and I don't think that's a secret. 1047 Games CEO Ian Prolix? P-R-O-U-L-X. How would you pronounce that? Prolix. We're going to go with Ian Prolix. Told Polygon in a video interview ahead of today's announcement. Splitgate 2 launched on June 6 following a controversial announcement at this year's Summer Games Fest in which Prolix took to the stage wearing a, quote, make FPS great again hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Now, I was sitting there being like, what the fuck? Anyway, while that moment generated heat for the studio, the game itself was met with negative feedback of its own from its community who voiced criticism of its bugs, its lack of a ranked mode at launch, expensive cosmetics, and more. Today, 1047 Games released a statement addressing those concerns and detailing the future of Splitgate, its sequel, and the studio at large.
I'm getting deja vu. This is fucking multiverses, man. You could switch the name of these games and it's the exact same fucking
Did that happen?
development cycle. Yeah, they pulled multiverses down when it was in a great way. Everyone was having fun with it, and they put it back up, and everything was expensive. There was
And
no
shit.
rank
And it was
mode.
slower and everything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Killed it. Quote, we've heard your feedback and we agree with you. We launched too early. We had ambitious goals with Splitgate 2, and in our excitement to share it with you, we bit off more than we could chew. So we're going back to beta. Speaking with Polygon, Prolix pinned some of Splitgate's 2 problems on a lack of community involvement in areas. Despite holding extensive playtests before launch, modes like Battle Royale were kept close to the chest to surprise players. 1047 Games intends to work closer with players moving forward, returning to the original Splitgate's more grassroots development cycle. Quote, there was a giant Reddit thread that we literally read every single post, Prolix said. He continues, I read everything on the Reddit, everything, any tweets, Discord, all that stuff. We have a good sense of what needs to get done. What are the problems? Still tons of details to figure out, but I think the big change we're going to make this time around is we're going to actually do it alongside the community, get their feedback, play test, and then when we all feel like, all right, the game is in a great place, it is what it needs to be, then that's when we're going to relaunch as opposed to just doing things in secret and then surprising them, end quote. 1047 Games has a list of feedback that it's planning to add in the overhaul, including ranked leaderboards and more mode-specific playlists. It will add more portal walls to arenas, following criticisms that the sequel had de-emphasized the series' central mechanic. A game mode revamp is coming too, as 1047 will put less focus on round-based modes to recapture the original Splitgate's flow. Quote, I think there's a lot of things Splitgate 2 does extremely well, Prolix said. I think we have a very polished actual core experience in terms of gun gameplay, movements, graphics, etc. But I do feel like we bit off more than we could chew, and we have 3 games in one between Arena and Battle Royale and our own map creator.
That was one of the big complaints, because when this article popped up, I went and started reading the Steam reviews, and a lot of them were complaining, just like, who the fuck asked for like Battle Royale, and just like, these developers are like really missing the charm of what the first game was. And
that's such a pity. Wasn't Overwatch? Didn't Overwatch suffer the exact same thing? Overwatch 2?
Overwatch 2, which is essentially just Overwatch 1 again. Yeah, they fucked up. And
Yeah.
the thing is, they promised more and never delivered on it.
Damn.
Did Overwatch 2, was that supposed to have a Battle Royale mode?
No, it was supposed to have a PvE mode.
Oh, that's
which
right.
never
yeah,
happened.
I do remember that.
And they dropped it down to like, I think it was like 5 heroes. And they're just like, yeah, this will make for a more balanced game. And then eventually they just like bumped it back up to 6, which was the first one. And then everyone's just like, this is just
What are you doing?
Overwatch 1.
Yeah, and we have to pay another fucking 60
No,
quid. for it.
Overwatch 2 is free.
Oh, thank heavens.
So, yeah.
Dodge a bullet there at least anyway. Continuing his quote, and so we tried to do a lot with a little, and I think we ended up with a game that's kind of like 80% of the way there 3 times instead of 100% of the way there on a fewer amount of things. Prolix noted that monetization will be reworked as well. That comes after the game drew criticism for including an $80 skin bundle at launch, among other pricey cosmetics. Quote, obviously that one bundle, I mean, I'm not here to make excuses. Yeah. Prolix trailed off when asked about the response to monetization. Fucking hell. That controversy dovetailed with another surrounding a launch. Prolix's now infamous Summer Games Fest stunt. The CEO came under scrutiny for sporting a hat that referenced US President Donald Trump's Make America Great Again slogan, a move that happened as the current administration ramped up its deportation efforts with a wave of ICE raids some mere blocks away from the YouTube Theatre, the venue that hosted Summer Games Fest. After initially standing behind the stunt as a non-political statement in an interview with IGN, Prolix has since apologized for it. Despite the scrutiny the moment generated, he affirmed that he didn't have anything to do with the decision to unlaunch, though he still believes that the first-person shooter genre is not in a great place right now. Obviously, he says the vibes are worse because of the hat, but I think that if there was a 10 out of 10...
I think he got too much shade for the hat. I don't think it was that big of a
weird thing, because this is the thing, that the problem that I have with it. Like, why would you... If you're going to make a quote or something like that, don't copy the quote or the slogan of an administration, political or otherwise, that is not doing great things. Like, if that's only going to have negative connotations for you. Like, if you want, come up with your own quote about FPS, but like...
If anything, I think it makes a joke out of that. I don't know.
That's
the way I took it.
I think it's a dumb joke. That's all.
Yeah.
I just think it's a stupid joke.
I've made many mistakes since we started this in January of 2017, and that's one of them, the hat, I'm assuming. And I've made so many more that the world doesn't know about, he added. So to me, it's really just about moving forward. And that's a weird line. And I believe in this game, he says. I believe in this team, and there's tons of things I would do differently, that being one of them. But I'm focused on the future. To kind of article goes on a little bit, but it does talk about the studio will see layoffs as part of the change, but 1047 Games will not confirm the number of roles being reduced or say what departments would be impacted when asked by Polygon. This is the second wave of layoffs for the studio in the past 2 months, as the studio parted with a small group of staff members in June that included members of its art team.
I think this also has something to do with Microsoft too. Doesn't Microsoft own them?
The Splitgate studio?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That is a question I do not know. 1047 Games? Are they? I can check here. I've got 1047 Games. Audio listeners, we're all just checking our devices right now. I have to sign 1047 Games? Damn.
Maybe not. No. Oh, you know what shooter did get canceled though because of Microsoft?
Hit us.
Romero's secret FPS that
That's
he's been
right.
working on for years. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Is that the Irish guy?
Yeah. Well, he's not Irish. He's
but
he's
the
American.
company
in
is
Galway.
Irish, right? Yeah.
Based in
I think it's
Galway.
closed down now.
No, I think there was rumors it was closed down, and I think he put that
He made a statement
bed.
that it was.
It wasn't. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Unless you
Yeah.
read something more recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they let most people go, if not everyone.
Jesus.
But
Like
it's
I
not closed down.
fucking can't catch a break. Holy shit.
But I mean, like, and again, right? So this is the risk, right? I'm just going to go back onto the hat for a moment. If you come out onto the stage announcing Splitgate 2, whatever else, and you're talking about how you're so passionate about first-person shooters, and you're wearing a hat saying "Make first-person shooters great again," and you come out with Splitgate 2 in its current format.
Well, yeah.
There's such little self-awareness
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Like even that,
You guys don't have phones? Like that whole statement?
Oh, the Diablo thing.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ! And it's the monetization thing. The fact that he trailed off and had no comment about an $80 skin bundle for the game just like reeks of just complete unawareness of where the industry is at the minute and where people are like, that's not what we want in our video games.
Yeah, it's tone deaf, I think is the word. It's a little tone deaf.
$80 is steep, but at the same time, like Splitgate is free, so they have to make money back somehow.
No. But make the free game a fucking enjoyable one to play.
Yeah,
and then people might pay. Like
yeah.
Marvel Rivals, you got to pay for those extra skins and stuff with your heroes, right? People are buying them by the bookloads because it's a fucking great game.
Yeah, exactly. So there's like League of Legends. They've been free since they're still like probably the highest grossing.
They're the highest
game.
grossing game ever, and that's a fucking horrible game.
Shut up, man! You've dedicated so much time to it. Yeah,
And that's why I can say that. That's why it's okay for me to
We all
say.
hate it now.
Oh God! Listen, guys, this isn't getting any better. We will go to Chris. We'll go to the article that you put in here, and this is on the Steam censorship.
Yeah. Oh God, more fucking bad news.
Yeah, this is a bit of a long article, so I'll go through it. If at any point you want to interject on any points I say, good, that'll make the conversation nice and flowy and zesty and tasty instead of me just talking for ages.
It's all about zesty content. Too.
Yeah,
Spicy.
Spicy. Careful, we might get censored by the payment companies if we talk about not safe.
Ain't nobody paying us, man. Nobody has control.
You're getting paid?
Yeah. It's only when you have nothing, when you're free to do anything.
Yeah.
The chains are off.
So this article comes from Tessicore at The Gamer. This was published 4 days ago, which means the 24th of July. Surprise everybody, we don't do this live. So the indie game community is in uproar after learning that itch.io has de-indexed all adult not safe for work content from its search engines, as well as hiding them from general browsing. Itch, which calls itself an open marketplace for independent digital creators with a focus on independent video games, released a statement saying it had come under scrutiny from our payment processors regarding the nature of some content hosted on the platform. In short, Itch has been subject to the same censorship from payment processors that Steam was a few days ago. Valve announced last week that it would begin removing games from the Steam storefront that, quote, violate the rules and standards set forth by our payment processors and their related card networks and banks, end quote. The statement seems to imply that these payment processors would revoke their services from Steam if these games were allowed to be sold, directly impacting business. This means it's not the platforms deciding what gets to exist on its own storefronts, but the banking conglomerates. Itch is facing a similar problem, though its reaction was far more extreme, likely because it's a smaller business with fewer resources to fight back against payment processing megacorporations. De-indexing was done without informing creators beforehand because, quote, the situation developed rapidly, end quote, requiring Itch to act urgently, and it was not realistic to provide creators with advance notice before making this change. Pages will remain de-indexed as Itch conducts a comprehensive audit of content to ensure it can meet the requirements of its payment processors. New compliance measures will be introduced that will require creators to confirm their content is allowable under the policies of the respective payment processors linked to their account. Some pages will be permanently removed. This is not the first time these payment processors have put pressure on services to adhere to their internal guidelines. Platforms like OnlyFans and Fansly have had to update their own guidelines to comply with payout providers, and Patreon rolled out tools to help creators adhere to MasterCard standards in 2021. It's not just Visa and MasterCard. PayPal, too, has strict rules around sexually orientated digital goods or content and is at liberty to lock accounts. Steam specifically seemed to be removing games tagged with rape and incest, though it's unclear how many games were removed and why. What's happening on Itch, however, is far more extreme. Not only have countless games been de-indexed without warning, but Itch hosts other media types like novels and TTRPGs, which have been affected. This Blue Sky thread has some creators saying that their work, specifically those tagged as erotic, has become unsearchable.
Oh God, it's so complicated for me because part of me does just not want like some of those tags to even exist. But at the same time, censorship fucking sucks, and it sets a dangerous precedent.
I was reading this article, Chris, and I'll talk more about it when I get through the article itself. We're almost there. But it had me kind of definitely
skirting the line.
Skirting the line, yeah. We'll have a good chat about it once I get through this Blue Sky quote. I've gone on the record as saying that I think media that expressly sexualizes female characters is kind of weird. I don't love that mainstream games give you achievements for upskirting female characters, rewarding you for violating them. I don't think that media should encourage or normalize abuse. However,
Witcher getting banned.
However, I do not
However,
I do not consider myself to be the moral arbiter of kink or sexuality. Who decides what gets to exist and what the masses are allowed to consume? I definitely do not think that credit card companies should be the moral arbitrators of kink or sexuality either, which is the role they seem to be taking. By deciding what can pass through them, and by nature of being the biggest payment processors in the world, they in turn get to impose censorship on platforms external to them. It is up to us as consumers to challenge media we find questionable. I would prefer not to outsource that work to a corporation who can unilaterally decide what I'm allowed to consume and thus restrict the online ecosystem as a consequence. Renowned developer Yako Taro, best known as the creator of Nier, made a similar point last year when Visa clamped down on doujinshi and manga archives in Japan. Am I pronouncing that right? Doujinshi and manga?
Wow.
Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Let us know at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com if my pronunciations are dreadful. At the time, he said, quote, "The fact that a payment processor, which is involved in the entire infrastructure of content distribution, can do such things at its own discretion seems to me to be dangerous on a whole new level. It implies that by controlling payment processing companies, you can even censor another country's free speech," end quote. What happened with Steam indicated this was going to be just the tip of the iceberg. Steam's new guidelines are vague, only saying that certain types of adult-only content are being affected. This, in effect, could mean anything. Adult content is an expansive label. It can include anything from queer relationships to depictions of mental health issues or even sex education. It could, as the vast majority of popular games feature, include violence. Plenty of games feature some sort of adult content. Shooters often depict realistic gore. Marvel Rivals offers skimpy swimsuit skins. Baldur's Gate 3 lets you hook up with a bear. Itch hasn't offered guidelines for what it will be removing, but it's incredibly disturbing to hear that it's not just games depicting abuse potentially being targeted, but all kinds of media. It's very easy to argue that games straightforwardly depicting abuse are bad for society, but far harder to argue that novels and TTRPGs that discuss these topics deserve to be removed entirely. You can find depictions of rape in many books, say in George R. R. Martin's A Game of Thrones. Collective Shout, a self-proclaimed anti-pornography feminist group headed by an anti-abortion founder, takes credit for pressuring Steam to remove hundreds of rape and incest games, and was named in Itch's statement as having campaigned for this outcome. Collective Shout has previously tried to get Australia stores to stop selling Detroit to Become Human for depicting child abuse. There was a weird amount of backlash to the game from children's campaigners who said that it trivializes domestic violence, despite the fact that it's very clearly a negative portrayal and that one player character fights the abuser to defend the child. This is the kind of media literacy that we're dealing with here. What's clear is that decent causes are often misused by lobbying groups who willfully or otherwise misinterpret the content of what they're actually lobbying against. Make no mistake about this, it's censorship perpetrated by massive corporations that have the power to control what people are allowed to buy. Without many widely available alternate payment processors in the market, consumers are forced to let corporations choose what art we consume. Steam was the beginning, and Itch is just the next step. Thoughts?
God, I didn't even realize some fucking weird anti-abortion fanatic was driving this shit. If that's the case, you know what? Fuck him. Fuck Visa. Let's just go to like a new crypto Steam coin and then just be done with it. Everything's free or free game. Fair game.
Fair game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it's an anti-abortion thing. Like this all kind of smacks of I hate this. Like I hate the corporate overreach of like payment processors.
Yeah.
I didn't even think they could. Like, I didn't think Visa could step in and just
they
be
can
like,
do.
No, you can't.
They can
well,
do whatever
so
the hell they want.
Here's the thing about this is that this is, and I can't remember how it's described in this article. It's a massive article. I'll probably struggle to find it. But these corporations like Visa and MasterCard have their, what would you say, necessarily code of conduct, I guess. And they would have developed this code of conduct possibly before they got involved as the main payment processor for the likes of Steam. So I guess, I mean, and I'm not trying to play devil's advocate, but in terms of factually, what's happening on Steam does go against their code of conduct. Yeah, in that regards.
But their code of conduct is only going to reflect what the people who give them the most money want
the
it
code
to
of conduct
reflect.
Yeah.
So I think this decision will be reversed. I think it'll probably take a couple of years, and it'll take a lot of pressure on them, and then they'll realize that. Because all they care about is free markets. So once the markets tell them that, no, we actually want this. I was looking this up separately, and do you mind if I read a bit out from the Kotaku article?
Absolutely, fire away.
It's a really good point. It says...
Just the Kotaku article, who wrote it? Just so we...
Written by, yep, good point.
Credit where credit is due.
John Walker.
Thank you, John.
John Walker.
So part of his article says, at the time, Valve were only... removing extreme porn titles, almost all related to rape and incest, leading to many to find the move difficult to oppose. However, it was also pointed out that such moves, when carried out haphazardly and unclearly as this, with responsibility for content guidelines handed to external financial corporations, inevitably lead to overreach, and LGBTQ plus games and those that explore controversial topics will always be the first to be unfairly affected. Which I thought was
interesting, because
excellent point.
This is where I was kind of flip-flopping throughout the article, because when they talked about the games with the tags of rape and incest, my first thought was like, who the fuck is playing a game where the main gameplay loop is based around either of those things, and who the fuck is creating those games? Like, absolutely, we don't need them in our library of video games. But then, as you said, Chris, like, where does the book stop then with censorship? Like,
you think this guy, whoever's lobbying for this is going to stop there. He's going to come after like Grand Theft Auto when it comes out. Like,
and this is where I was really struggling with myself internally with this thing, because I was like, I shouldn't have game. Like my initial like angry thought was, well, true, we shouldn't have games that are about rape or incest or anything like that. That's terrible. But then I looked at Grand Theft Auto and kind of like, okay, well they definitely touch upon the things.
Cyberpunk,
but is Game of Thrones, like you said.
But is that like
incest big?
But I think the difference being is that with when you'd have media like Game of Thrones, be it on the TV or through a book, you are watching or reading a piece of medium that's part of a story, and this thing is part of the story. And how I differentiate it myself is when it's a video game, you're in control and you're actively deciding to do these things. And that's the part that I struggle with from a video game perspective. It's why I would separate the Game of Thrones things from it, because I think if it's written into stories, it could be... And again, I don't agree with stories that would ever representative in a positive portrayal. But generally speaking, I haven't come across much that has. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I just haven't come across it. And I think it's different when you're reading or being told a story through a medium as opposed to the protagonist of that story making the choices yourself. That to me feels weird.
I mean, if you're familiar at all with anime, like me and like some of my social groups are, you know that incest is a topic that comes up way too frequently and is just like very casual in Japanese anime, and it's like something you just have to navigate literally all the time. It's very mainstream, and it's kind of harmless. You just don't watch those. Like you don't. Yeah,
that's the other side of the coin. Just don't consume content.
Yeah,
I guess.
A lot of the argument that you were making there, Darren, kind of rings echoes of the panic that went on when GTA was first hitting the market, when moms wanted to stop their kids playing it because they didn't want their kids deciding to blow up cars and stuff like that, because that would lead to them deciding to blow up cars or whatever in real life, when that's not actually how that works. Like there's not a causal one-to-one link. Like video games don't make people more violent. There are interesting studies about how video games can affect emotional development. It's a really interesting topic and slightly separate to this. But it's a very similar argument to that, where if you give people the tools to act out like a fantasy like that, it's kind of presuming that they would then go and do it in real life, which I don't think is necessarily true. So I don't know. For me, the line is still just like, don't let the credit card companies decide what's right and what's wrong, and stay in your fucking lane. But again, they can do this. They have unbelievable amounts of power.
Yeah.
So good to know. It's an interesting example of like where their power comes in.
I wonder, like, what if you just drop? Because I'm pretty sure this case is just Visa, right?
I think it's Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal.
Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal.
I thought I heard it was just Visa that's forcing Steam to do this.
Possibly, but I think the other ones are involved in what's happening with Itch. So I think it's the payment processors as a whole are making these decisions.
All of them. Because I was wondering, like, what if you just drop Visa?
Yeah,
like,
but I think MasterCard and PayPal have the same. Like, if you take them on board, it's still the same issue. It seems to be
just like the Visa / MasterCard block is like, in terms of payment processors, like. Who else is there?
Who else is there? Yeah,
like that's like most of the globe. So that's an insane amount of power, and it's an interesting historical precedent. I think they will reverse their statement in a couple of years because of market pressure. But remember that they can do this. This is something within their
thought-provoking. Yeah, gentlemen.
Yep.
We ready for our next one? Our final one?
Bring it on.
Have we got time? Oh, we don't really have time, but we'll get through this. This is a good one. This is a juicy one. How do I get back to this? There we go. Okay, so this is coming from Eurogamer by Vicky Blake. So Krafton's ready to take on Subnatica's creators in court. Krafton said it, quote, looks forward to defending itself in court after Unknown World's former leadership confirmed they would be suing the publisher after they were suddenly ousted and replaced earlier this month. This is from the 19th of July, by the way. The publisher also insisted that any and all decisions made about Subnautica 2 were made to, quote, ensure it's the best possible game and lives up to fan expectations, end quote. So, Subnautica 2 became the unexpected focus of industry drama last week when Krafton announced it was replacing 3 key members of Unknown World's leadership team including studio founder and original Subnatica director Charlie Cleveland, with Steve Papoutis, CEO of the Callisto Protocol studio, shrinking distance. At the time, Krafton insisted it had, quote, sought to keep the co-founders and original creators of the Subnatica series involved in the game's development, despite their departure. Fan pushback was swift, and the situation only grew murkier after Bloomberg reporter Cleveland, as well as Unknown World's chief executive officer Ted Gill and special projects director Max McGuire, had all been, quote, pushed out, amid Krafton's sudden decision to shift Subnatica's to early access launch from its announced 2025 window into 2026. It was also claimed the move, which Unknown World's ousted leadership reportedly did not support, would mean the studio was unlikely to meet revenue targets that would unlock a promised $250 million bonus for the development team. Shortly thereafter, developer Unknown World's ousted leaders announced legal action against Krafton. Quote, Krafton's decisions were made to ensure Subnautica 2 is the best possible game and lives up to fan expectations. Releasing the game prematurely with insufficient content, falling short of what fans expect in a sequel, would have both disappointed the players, who are at the heart of everything Krafton does, and damaged the reputations of both the Subnautica and Unknown Worlds brands, a Krafton spokesperson told VGC. It continues, while we are disappointed that Charlie, Max and Ted have filed a lawsuit seeking a huge payout, we look forward to defending ourselves in court. In the meantime, Krafton remains focused on what matters, delivering the best possible game as quickly as possible to Subnautica's fans, end quote. All this comes after the mysterious leak of an internal Krafton review document last weekend claiming Subnautica 2's planned early access release lacked the freshness and volume expected of a sequel and fell short of meeting high expectations. Almost immediately after, Krafton took the unusual step of announcing, unprompted, that the document was real, claiming that doing so would minimize speculation and ensure accurate communication with players. So, that's from the Eurogamer. Luke, you sent me, and it's a really good article on Engadget.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's titled, What the Hell is Going On with Subnautica 2? I want to read out a piece at the end of that article. It's a massive one. It kind of goes into, like, I suppose, the origins of all this.
The whole story from the very beginning. Yeah.
So I'll go on to, it's a little bit more, but we'll crack through it. Quote, suing a multi-billion-dollar company in a painful, public and possibly protracted way was certainly not on my bucket list, Cleveland wrote. He continues, but this needs to be made right. Subnautica has been my life's work and I would never willingly abandon it or the amazing team that has poured their hearts into it. As for the earnout, the idea that Max, Ted and I wanted to keep it all for ourselves is totally untrue, end quote. This lawsuit wasn't unsealed until July 16th, but on July 15th, Bloomberg reported that Krafton now planned to extend the window for the bonus payment by an additional year, giving the studio more time to hit goals. The publisher also reported the publisher will also reportedly advance a portion of a separate profit-sharing bonus pool to all Unknown Worlds employees in 2025. These moves seem designed to moot the core issues raised in the breach of contract complaint that Cleveland and other Unknown Worlds leaders filed against Krafton in Delaware Chancery Court. The lawsuit, unsealed on July 16, claims Krafton illegally fired studio heads and delayed Subnautica 2 in order to avoid the bonus payments. It also provides a timeline of growing tensions between the founders and Krafton this year, accusing the publisher of intentional sabotage. The lawsuit claims that Krafton and Unknown Worlds had a respectful relationship until April 2025, when Gill presented Krafton executives with the studio's positive revenue projections, which were made with the assumption that Subnautica 2 would hit early access in 2025. He also outlined the expected bonus payment under the agreement. When that happened, quote, everything changed, the lawsuit reads. The complaint alleges that at this point, Krafton began looking for ways to force out the leaders of Unknown Worlds and delay the launch of Subnautica 2, with a goal of circumventing the bonus payment. Cleveland, Gill and McGuire argued back and forth with Krafton executives over whether the game was ready for early access, and Krafton eventually pulled all of its resources from the studio. Krafton issued a stop order on Subnautica 2 development, took over Unknown Worlds communication channels, and in June it started laying an internal paper trail accusing the founders of abandoning their fiduciary duties, according to the complaint. Cleveland, Gill and McGuire were fired and removed from the Unknown Worlds board of directors on July 1st. This is where the rest of us entered the story. The main conflict here is over whether Subnautica 2 is really ready for early access launch, and that matters because of a potential $250 million payment that's jeopardized by a delay. Not only is this a large sum for Krafton to lose, but it's also a massive amount of money for Cleveland, Gill and McGuire to miss out on, especially now that they've lost their studio and tentpole IP. The ousted leaders reiterated in a lawsuit that they, quote, plan to share even more of the earnout with their dedicated team, end quote, than they were contractually obliged to. In the complaint, they're looking for Krafton to pay out the full bonus as projected without a delay, fulfill its obligations as a publisher, and reinstate them as the heads of Unknown Worlds. Every party in the situation claims that they want what's best for Subnautica 2 and its players. It's possible that they're all telling the truth, and this is a simple disagreement over artistic integrity. It's also possible that they're all lying, and everyone is looking to make or keep a quick buck. But man, that's bleak. The truth, as usual, likely lies somewhere in between, and chances are we'll never know it. At least the court system will eventually be able to determine the second best thing, which is who's at fault. I was reading articles up to this one that you pointed me to, Luke, and I thought that Krafton were the complete and total evildoers.
Yeah.
Part of me still leans towards that direction based on what I'm reading, but another part of me is like, I can't really tell anymore. It's kind of...
That's what they want.
Yeah, I mean, that's genuine.
They want to muddy
be.
the waters.
Yeah.
No, Krafton evil. Krafton evil.
Krafton bad.
Krafton bad.
Like,
I hope they lose that lawsuit. They have to pay out the bonus money, and they have to relinquish the IP back to Unknown Worlds.
Well, Unknown World still has it, but those three have just been ousted from the studio.
Just like sever ties, and they're allowed to reinstate their founders.
They're restored.
There's a part that really tweaked my interest in the complaint that was filed, which is where it says Krafton issues a stop order on Subnautica 2 development, took over Unknown World's communication channels, and in June it started laying an internal paper trail accusing the founders of abandoning their fiduciary duties. That's really interesting.
The time frame of this is all wild because he said everything changed after they mentioned the bonus and their positive revenue projections in April.
Yeah.
Like that probably happened like around 2 months ago. Then 1 month ago they were like, oh, we can't fucking have this, and they started like laying this paper trail allegedly. And
allegedly.
Allegedly. And then it was like the beginning of this month they ousted them, and then on the 15th of July, like a week or so ago, like 2 weeks ago maybe, the founders sued for like unfair dismissal.
What's really interesting though is, and this is the part that confuses me about Krafton bad, is that on the day before the complaint was unsealed, however the law works in regards to that, the day before Krafton confirmed that they're just going to extend the period out until 2026.
It's a good look for them. Because that makes it seem like, no, we're not trying to stiff you on the bonuses. If the game, we do really care about the quality of the game and it coming out on time in a good manner, and to that end we will keep up our end of the deal if it is delivered in that way in 2026. So it looks good for Krafton, but I think in reality all they're doing is buying themselves more time to can the game and they're just trying to kick the can down the road. I will say I am also kind of Krafton bad on this, not against the possibility that Krafton are right, that is potential, but it seems very strange. Like I'm a big Subnautica fan.
Yeah.
I love Subnautica 1. I still play it on my Steam Deck like regularly. It is a beautiful game. Subnautica Below Zero, I wasn't as into it.
Never played it.
Still fantastic game. Really worth playing. Actually worth playing. Yeah, great spin-off. There's a lot of care goes into these games.
They kept saying Subnautica 2, and I was just like, isn't that just...
Yeah, I thought that at first.
Like,
Subnautica Below Zero was a DLC, was it?
No, it's a standalone game.
Yeah,
it's a standalone game. I thought it was Subnautica 2. It's like a slightly smaller game than Subnautica 1. Great game. And so I'm not surprised that they could deliver Subnautica 2 so quickly.
I don't know why they even took on the publisher, though. They seem to be on track. Like, they seem to have their shit together. They're making good games.
Well, I think possibly, but it says that Krafton pulled all of their resources out of the studio, which meant that they were definitely using Krafton's resources to complete this game. Do you know what I mean? If
that was one of the
that's
moves
the
that they
thing. Like,
pulled.
Subnautica 1... There's no Krafton involved. Like, it was an independent game.
No, yeah.
So why did for Subnautica 2 they
like any growth, I guess you need to kind of get investors in and
no, I don't think
people
you do. They had the seed money from the game, unless they just fucked that all.
maybe,
but like, look
maybe
at
that's why
Larian.
they're looking for the 250 mil. Who
Larian
knows?
is still fucking independent, and they're making Baldur's Gate 3. Like,
yeah,
come on,
but
man.
I mean, there's very few Larians in the world. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's because everyone's selling their soul to these fucking publishers and getting bent over.
And Unknown Worlds could make a strong argument for it. One of the things I saw in that Engadget article was that Subnautica 2 is the second most wishlisted game on Steam behind Silksong.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that popular at all.
It's
huge.
insanely popular.
Yeah.
And that's why they were like, yeah, we're pretty much on target for our revenue goals. Hundreds, millions of people have wishlisted
and then they
this.
fucking pointed out the big number, 250 million, and then Krafton said,
got scared.
Fuck that. No.
So to finish the point I was saying earlier, I think Krafton bad, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the founders will have a really tough time arguing in court that they were in the wrong and that they were unfairly stiffed. I think that is legally. I think that's a very difficult argument to make because Krafton are the publisher. It's the publisher's job to do anything to maximize sales, maximize profit, deliver a proper product, and Krafton get to decide what that means. to begin
Yeah.
with. Like, that's the
Yeah.
publishers. You give that to the publisher when you sign with a publisher. They get to decide what's good enough and what's not.
I would love to, because obviously there's a huge amount on the line for the Krafton owners, or the not Krafton owners, the Unknown Worlds, the three guys. I would love to know. I'd love if there was like an anonymous but certified person came out who works in Unknown Worlds and was like, "This is ready." Do you know what I mean? Like to put a stamp on the argument to say this game is ready. I don't know what Krafton are talking about.
All the founders have said that.
But see, that's what I mean. The founders are the
Someone
ones
not
for
involved.
due the payment, do that kind of way. So like
Yeah.
with people who aren't guaranteed a share of $250 million to
Yeah.
come out and say, because of course,
I thought it was all of Unknown Worlds get a bonus.
yeah, they all do, but I think that's down to what
So the
founders want to.
the studio generally get a 25 million bonus. I think a portion of the remaining 225 million goes somewhere else, and then I think the largest, like around 200 plus million, goes to the three devs, and they have said they haven't committed to it officially on paper, but they have said they are planning on sharing their bonus with the studio as well, a portion of it with the studio.
And that's what I mean, is that I think that would really nail the coffin. Like, I think if you have someone inside the studio comes in and says, I don't know what Krafton are talking about, this game is ready, but if no one comes out to speak at all, anonymously or otherwise, that's where I begin to be like, well, maybe the game isn't ready. Maybe the game isn't ready, and maybe these guys are pushing it because they really want them sweet dollary dues. This is just me playing devil's advocate. Krafton bad. Follow the party line, Darren.
Yeah, god damn it, man. Get on board.
Krafton bad. I'm trying to find as well. They
I bet you
brought
Darren
in-
secretly wants to kill games too.
You better believe it, baby.
Big corpo in disguise.
Yeah.
You've-
MasterCard, Krafton,
Wait,
Nintendo.
Nintendo. They're all paying me
rip
for
that
this
fucking
episode.
logo off your shirt and it's just big Nintendo.
Remove the first layer of the Gift of Gaming logo. Like, if anyone went into Photoshop and removed the top layer, they'd just see it's a Nintendo logo like underneath it.
A sticker like half off and the Nintendo logo.
It's a me,
visible.
Darren. I mean, welcome to the Gift of Gaming podcast.
Yeah, crazy stuff. 250 million.
So the interesting thing about that is, who signed off on that? Who agreed to that?
That's the other thing. It seems like it's like you make one of those bets that you just like
I'll give you
make
$1
it so
billion.
high because you were convinced that
It
like,
wouldn't
there's no
happen.
way they're going to
Yeah.
win, and now they're just fuck, we got to fire these
would
guys.
Kraft and the publishers have signed off on that? Was that their agreement with Unknown
yeah.
Worlds? Fuck, Jesus Christ. Who,
got
who signs off? 250 million is, I don't think I've heard that amount for a bonus for a studio in any.
No, never
industry.
in
Any
gaming before have I
industry.
heard something like that for a bonus. It's,
For and listen, this is no shade at Unknown Worlds, but for a company that's making games like Subnatica, like, I wouldn't be surprised if I heard something like that for like Square Enix's Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh
trilogy.
man, you see, you're still in your weird little bubble.
in the AAA bubble.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is what-
fuck, man.
No, but in
terms of
Subnatica's
Zach Chris
big.
now.
man.
No. I know Subnautica is big, but what I'm trying to say is the studio isn't huge. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the numbers of people and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like, when I think of like
it's 100
bonus,
people. Like,
yeah. Whereas you've got like thousands of people work for Square Enix. Do you know that kind of way? In terms of, that's where I would believe a bonus number like that, because
but
it's spread out
thousands of
over so
people
many.
working for Square Enix, but only like 100 or so work on a game at a given time. You think 1,000 people, like the whole Square Enix is all working on like the next Final Fantasy? No, they're smaller teams, man.
Smaller teams, but I mean, judging by the credits of any Final Fantasy game, the amount of staff working on those games is massive. It's huge.
I was looking through the Engadget article for this, but they were the studio heads were fired and replaced by former Callisto Protocol studio head Steve Papatsis.
Yeah, I definitely got that name wrong when I was reading it out. Sorry.
Yeah,
listeners.
that's an interesting choice in itself, because the Callisto Protocol famously had a bad launch.
Yeah.
It was like really highly anticipated. This is going to be like a Dead Space that's going to slap, and it had so many problems on launch.
Yeah.
That you're saying that you want to deliver the best product out there, and the guy that you get to do it is the guy who fucked it up last time he did
Dude,
it.
it's such a heartbreaking thing for me. The industry that I love so much keeps making so many silly decisions across the board all the time. I have rarely heard of good decisions being made in the industry. Listen, I wouldn't have been as heavily involved in this prior to the podcast. I would have watched the odd thing about news and stuff like that. But since this podcast, I've been like, people in this industry, the higher ups are just making terrible choice after terrible choice after terrible choice. Chris, what you got for me?
Steam revenue calculator has Subnatica, the first one, estimated gross revenue 274 mil since it released.
The bonus is
The
250.
bonus is 250 for Subnautica 2. Like
That's what I mean. Like, I know. So I'm not saying Subnautica is a small game, but like when you think of the revenue that made versus the revenue of any kind of AAA game would make, like
I don't know, second most fucking wishlisted game on Steam is pretty nuts.
Behind
Yeah.
Hollow Knight Silk Song.
No,
Yeah,
I get that.
that's
beating
No,
that.
and listen, I get that, but like, I'm
Silk
sorry,
Song's never going to
there's
make
a-
any money.
There's a difference. There's a difference between
It's never
wishlisting
gonna
something
release.
and then paying the money for it. Do you know what I mean?
There's a pretty close correlation between like interest and like how much you're going to sell something.
Yeah.
If you're the second highest wishlisted game on the biggest PC gaming platform,
And in terms of the marketing,
and mind you, this is just Steam.
Just Steam. Yeah.
So
not
there's still
mentioning other platforms.
all the other consoles it's on.
In terms of algorithm and stuff for Steam as well, though, like wishlist is the biggest metric that they have for
Absolutely.
release of games, which is why every indie
That's
dev
the only
is
way
like,
I know when
"Please,
all these
wait."
fucking games actually come out.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It just
every
fucking
indie dev.
emails you. He's like, by the way,
Yeah.
Splitgate 2's out. By the way, Splitgate 2's no longer out.
In fairness, you said about maybe 270 million.
274 million.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at, like, you make a good point. Final Fantasy VII Remake, the first of the trilogy, only made 330 million. Now, it's considered a
This
success.
is just Steam, remember? Just Steam.
Yeah,
Steam.
sorry, those are just so that's not mentioning like
Xbox and
yeah,
whatever the
console,
console. Yeah.
meant that covers no console releases, and I
Yeah.
played it on console. Like I didn't play it on Steam initially. It's
Yeah, fair
beautiful
point.
on the Steam
Fair
Deck.
point.
Um,
But that's what I mean. That makes the idea of a $250 million bonus all the more insane to agree to in any
true.
capacity.
That was the big point here.
Yeah.
Like that is a nutty amount. And remember, wasn't AAA prices. either.
Yeah.
I think it was only $20 actually.
yeah, it was a cheap one.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been great. A real thought-provoking episode.
I'm gonna count that last one as good news because these guys are gonna win it. They're gonna clean that fucking Krafton out.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
We will report.
Well, actually, a lawsuit like this might take years. You know.
Yeah, but we'll keep us updated.
Yeah.
You know? And if you want to keep the podcast going long enough so we can keep you updated, check out our Patreon. Patreon.com/The Gift of Game. Do you like how I did that, Luke?
That was good.
Like,
Yeah,
thanks,
that was pretty
I'm
slick.
working on my segues. Thank you. Speaking of Patreon, myself, Chris and Luke will be going on to do a post-show episode that won't be related to news because that's been a lot of news of bad things mostly today. We're going to do a Battle Royale. Gentlemen, you haven't done a Battle Royale in a while.
Nope.
No.
Our choices are getting slim, so hopefully there's something that you like, and we'll pick. But if you want to check out what video game characters that Luke, Chris, and I think are the best, then check out patreon.com.
It's very exciting. Tingle almost beat Pikachu once.
Almost, yeah.
It
Yeah, it was
pretty
true.
fucking close.
And we had Tommy Vercetti versus Cloud Strife. That's an interesting episode, and it might surprise you who goes through.
If it surprises me, that means it's Tommy, which is crazy.
Chris, don't spoil it for the...
yeah, sorry, man.
If you want to listen to it, you got to pay.
Yeah.
This has been great. Thank you so
God,
much.
I
for
want to
coming on.
pay just to listen to that. Fucking how the hell?
Chris,
did you
you're on the
get
podcast. I'll just send it to you for free. Don't worry about it.
there? Privilege.
Listeners, as always, and forever, thank you so much for listening, and keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.
Soup.